President Trump says he's ready to expel anyone who is, quote, not a net asset to the United States. And he's also threatening to end immigration from what he describes as third world nations. Our Nancy Cordes is in West Palm Beach, Florida, and joins us now this morning. Nancy, what specifically is the president speaking about?
Good morning, Errol. This would be a dramatic new step by the president, cutting off migration from an unknown number of countries that he deems third world. We have asked the White House for more.
Yeah, we got to get more racist, I think. You see, just as the traffic density problem can be solved if we just built another lane, the American issue is we just haven't been racist enough. If only we were just a little bit more locked in on the racism, just a little bit more racism, and all of the rent problem and all of the affordability problems will go away, dude. These are the same motherfuckers that go, the left is calling us Nazis to kill us, and they start saying and doing Nazi shit law. Yeah, I mean, the entire point of that is to stop dissent. And it's an abject failure because obviously in the United States of America, free speech is one of the only things that we have. So obviously, whenever you try to take that away, Americans are going to be like, no. They're going to say, get the hell out of here. Of course, I'm going to keep saying whatever the I want to say. Because that is just a way, that is an ineffective way that the Republicans try to silence dissent. In any case, here's the long-ass effort post from this dipshit. A very happy Thanksgiving salutation to all our great citizens and patriots who have been so nice in allowing our country to be divided, disruptive, carved up, murdered, beaten, mugged, and laughed at, along with certain other... This is Stephen Miller. 100% Stephen Miller wrote this. I can see from like the first couple of sentences, this is a Stephen Miller exclusive because it is identical to something you would hear from Goebbels or something you would hear from Hitler, you know, carved up, murdered, beaten, mugged, and laughed at, along with certain other foolish countries throughout the world for being politically correct. And it's just plain stupid when it comes to immigration. The official United States foreign population stands at 53 million people, in parentheses census, most of which are on welfare from failed nations or from prisons, mental institutions, gangs, or drug cartels. Yeah, no, totally. That's what's going on here. You're so right. It is all the foreign nationals that are on welfare. Yeah, certainly not like the forgotten white people that are born and bred American that are on welfare. It's just the foreigners that are not doing anything for America except, you know, picking all the crops and playing a incredibly important role in all of our agricultural output that makes sure that Americans are well fed without taking a dime out of that welfare structure anyway. It's so dumb. It's so stupid. It's just so wrong. Yeah, Melania is part of them. Obviously, so is J.D. Vance's wife as well, by the way. Yeah, they and their children are supported through massive payments from patriotic American citizens who, because of their beautiful hearts, do not want to openly complain or cause trouble in any way, shape, or form. They put up with what has happened to our country, but it's eating them alive to do so. A migrant earning $30,000 with a green card will roughly get $50,000 in yearly benefits for their family. The real migrant population is much higher. This refugee burden is the leading cause of social dysfunction in America, something that did not exist after World War II. Failed schools, high crime, urban decay, overcrowded hospitals, housing shortages, and large deficits, etc. As an example, hundreds of thousands of refugees from Somalia are completely taking over the once great state of Minnesota. It's ironic to also shift the focus over to Minnesota, where Minneapolis is unironically one of the few cities in the country that has actually improved the material conditions of the people that live in Minneapolis. But of course, there's a lot of Somali people there, right? So if you're racist dipshit from looking at it from afar, you go, oh, the demographics of Minneapolis are shifting. I hate that. Meanwhile, the people of Minneapolis are actually pretty happy. So happy that they hated the incumbent mayor and still ended up voting for the incumbent mayor. Somalian gangs are roving the streets looking for prey as our wonderful people stay locked in their apartments and houses, hoping against hope that they will be left alone. The seriously R-worded governor of Minnesota, Tim Walz, does nothing, either through fear, incompetence, or both, while the worst woman in our country, Ilhan Omar, always wrapped in her swaddling hijab and who probably came into the USA illegally, in that you are not allowed to marry your brother, does nothing but hatefully complain about our country, its constitution, and how badly she's treated. This is This has 400,000 likes. I hate this shit, dude. This is, oh, yeah, happy Thanksgiving. Our president is Adolf Hitler. If Adolf Hitler was somehow even dumber than the original Adolf Hitler. Awesome. Mostly bots. Breathe, brother. I know. It doesn't matter. It's just still, it doesn't matter that it's mostly bots. Okay. What matters is the president is saying this. It's just like sprinkle a little bit of racism. And in this instance, it's not even a little bit of racism. He's just maxing out on it. Like, this is one step removed from just saying the N-word, saying that like black people have overtaken, while also referencing black people as you know, the N-word in this country. They have roving gangs of thugs coming from Africa. Jesus Christ, dude. It's literally one step removed. And for many Americans, I think they need to hear that to actually come to terms with how racist this statement is. Somali people are the same as anybody else. They have the same exact class interests. They're not coming into the United States of America to look for prey. This is psychotic. Jesus Christ, dude. The post gets worse. It gets worse. Oh, Ilhan Omar. He continues on with Ilhan Omar, but hatefully complain about our country, constitution, and how badly she is treated when our place of origin is a decadent, backward, and crime-ridden nation, which is essentially not even a country for lack of government, military, police, schools, etc. Even as we have progressed technologically, immigration policies eroded those gains and living conditions for many. I will permanently pause migration from all third world countries to allow the U.S. system to fully recover, terminate all the millions of Biden illegal admissions, including those signed by Sleepy Joe Biden's auto pen, and remove anyone who is not a net asset to the United States or is incapable of loving our country, end all federal benefits and subsidies to non-citizens of our country, denaturalize migrants who undermine domestic tranquility, and deport any foreign national who is a public charge, security risk, or non-compatible with Western civilization. What the does this mean? These goals will be pursued with the aim of achieving a major reduction in illegal and disruptive populations, including those admitted through an unauthorized and illegal auto pen approval process. Only reverse migration can fully cure the situation. Other than that, happy Thanksgiving to all, except those that hate, steal, murder, and destroy everything that America stands for. You won't be here for long. Yeah, this is a Stephen Miller rant, 100%. Donald Trump is not capable of crafting this many words together. And also, you can see the anger and resentment. Remigration is obviously a European fascist concept, by the way. Yeah, is a far-right concept originally from Europe of ethnic cleansing via the mass deportation. Remigration is it was utilized by the AfD in Germany, or is being utilized by the AfD in Germany. It just means like remigration is just deportation. It's just a European way of saying deportation. I think you're cooked. Me? Why? I'm American citizen. You can suck my dick if you think I'm getting deported out of this country. By the time, as I've said over and over again, by the time it gets to someone like myself being denaturalized, it's over for America has shifted so dramatically. I'm not saying that it's not. I'm not saying that that's not like a ambition from this administration, but if they're coming after like a rich Twitch streamer with a massive fan base who is an American citizen, born American, natural born U.S. citizen, that means they've gone over so many more vulnerable populations at this point. Because I'm not a naturalized citizen. I'm a natural born U.S. citizen. People aren't focused enough on the word denaturalized here. The president says he will revoke the citizenship of Americans who weren't born here if he and Stephen Miller decide they need to go. Denaturalization is a rare and legally difficult process that Miller and white nationalists like Nick Fuentes have been pushing to supercharge the process for years now. But as Trump makes clear by citing the number 53 million, which includes foreign-born citizens, any American who wasn't born here is now, at least in the eyes of the government, at risk of deportation. He's right. I don't think they're going to get away with this. I think they are far too unpopular. I'll just say it like this. I think they are far too unpopular to try to unleash an agenda like this. And no, you might get mad at me for saying this, but I do not believe that Americans are this racist, or at least enough Americans are this racist. Are there Americans that are this racist? Yes, absolutely. But look to how quickly people snap back to reality when the mass deportation initiatives came to their neighborhoods. You have to do, what do I always say? Americans are too disorganized and too invested in their streets to actually be a part of a serious, disciplined fascist movement. You need to do reading to get to that level of racism. They're just like normal races for the most part. The average American might have values that resemble the neo-Nazi in another country, but they're not well-read enough to act out on those ambitions. They're not disciplined enough. They don't care enough. You do not have a mass ideologically committed fascist movement in this country. This is a statement by Stephen Miller in the direction of a mass ideologically coherent and ideologically organized loyal movement that does not exist. If he had actually spent the first half of a year on fixing the underlying material inequities or something and offering some crumbs that would obviously harm the interests of capital, and then he moved in this direction, we would be in this would be a far greater concern. We're not there. And there is no loyalty beyond a cult-like cult-like level of support for Donald Trump from the base that is withering away. If you're a legal immigrant or the children of legal immigrants, they're coming for you too. It doesn't matter if you're a U.S. citizen. It doesn't matter if you were born here. No one is safe. This is the agenda of the far right. Yeah. The Department of Homeland Security also posted the stakes have never been higher, and the goal has never been more clear. Remigration now. These guys are so stupid, dude. Even though morally ambiguous, America might be better off with some sort of serious expulsion mechanism. The fuck are you talking about, dude? One of the few redeeming qualities of the United States of America is the fact that immigrants have actually made this country the dominant power that it is, whether it be the brain drain or whether it be the rich tapestry of cultures. We got like a couple things going for us, okay? Our diversity, our free speech, or at least that still obviously has limitations, but like the free speech that kind of exists, okay, and due process. And Donald Trump is trying to tackle all three. It's so stupid, especially because there is no real problem here. Do you understand? Like if there was, okay, I will say it like this. I will concede on this point. If there was a significant issue with migrants coming into the United States of America and actually doing harm, like killing people on the streets, preying on the vulnerable, trying to, trying to create like roving gangs that are looking for white women to rape and behead or whatever the these psychopaths believe, then yeah, that's a little bit more reasonable. In that situation, if that racist fantasy was reality, then yeah, there is a lot more reason to unironically say, hey, we got to put these guys in jail. What the fuck are we doing? Or maybe even dispose of them or remove these people from the American national boundaries. This is a significant burden. But that's not the case. That's not the case anywhere on the planet because this is not how humans are. Nobody migrates to the United States of America, so they're like, oh yeah, land of opportunity to do rape. Are you fucking insane? That's not how this works. No, when people say, oh, I'm going to the land of opportunity, they mean like, oh, this country has a far better material circumstances and presents a far better future for someone like myself, like Afghan Muslims. Only supports Hamas, like Afghan Muslims. Oh my God. Right-wing lunatic chatter? Yeah. Right-wing lunatic chatter demanding that I watch The Context Nuke in its entirety. Name a better duo. New York Times got a State Department cable in which Rubio orders diplomats in Europe, Canada, Australia, and New Zealand to press for immigration limits and cite crime. They're also told to report on governments that are pro-immigration. Anyway, it's just so stupid. It's stupid because this doesn't actually solve any of the issues that people are facing, like the real issues, okay? It's just a made up problem. And the more people refuse to solve the real problems, the more they lean into this made up problem. And here we are. I cannot believe it. I can't believe how psychotic this is. This is insane. The Trump administration is arresting the wives and husbands of U.S. citizens when they show up for their green card interviews, even though they entered legally and have no criminal record. So much for family values, says Nicholas Kristof, New York Times columnist, author. Ilhan is cheering this on, of course. You are absolutely right in response to Donald Trump. This is a literal life or death issue. They will kill us all. This is what the hogs got out of that post. Trump officially gave us the R word back. Nice, dude. I don't think people realize what has happened. We are officially at war with Islam. Islam declared war on U.S. service members on U.S. soil. Secretary of War should respond by ordering military-style raids on every single mosque in America in a joint operation with the Department of Homeland Security to mass deport every single non-citizen Muslim in our country. We are at war with Islam. U.S. soldiers are being murdered on American soil by Muslims who are killing in the name of Islam. Americans should prepare accordingly. Buy ammo. This is just the beginning. And no, this isn't hyperbole. Over 72,000 Afghan immigrants were airdropped all over the U.S. in 2021. They are ticking time bombs waiting to explode. We must prepare to combat these enemy combatants who are likely planning more ambush-style attacks of jihad on service members and innocent Americans. Every devout Muslim is a foot soldier in Islam. The Trump administration should respond accordingly. This is where you get, by the way, this is where you get when you think Islamophobia is permissible. And Islamophobia is institutionally permissible. So, of course, the most rabid sociopaths are basically going to take it to this fucking level, especially because this is a very pro-Israel sentiment. Every single moment that Americans are predisposed with this like radical Islam taking root in America is a moment where they don't give a shit that Israel is like killing Palestinians. The moment that they don't give a shit where Israel is taking all their tax dollars to go kill Palestinians. Meanwhile, this kind of sentiment replaced the word Muslim with Jew, and you get Adolf Hitler. What a lunatic Laura Loomer is. Jesus Christ. This is exactly this is hysterical. This is psychotic. She is an absolute psychopath. Yeah, this is the most terrifying racialized screed I've read in a while. And I'm sure dipshit will say, based. This is based. He's going to save America based.
Oh my God. Yeah, I really think this might be the most based post he's ever made. I am so happy about this. I really am. Like, this is the kind of like, if he actually does this, I'm going to be so happy. Let me see.
And many of their stupid neck-bearded supporters will also go along with it. Meanwhile, yeah, holy based. Meanwhile, the actual material harm that they're experiencing is not being solved because of their inability to realize that Trump is actually doing this as a distraction for them. Or trust me, somehow it will work because Americans are very racist. I don't think so. I mean, yeah, there are a lot of racist Americans, but I don't think most Americans are that racist. America is far too diverse for Americans broadly to be that racist. And you didn't trust me when I told you the immigration stuff was going to backfire. So trust me on this. Why is Donald Trump's policies on immigration now being negatively received by the population? It's because Americans conceptualize legislation, but when that legislation is implemented, especially on the right, and they start experiencing the impact and the outcome of said legislation, they immediately go, no, this is not what I was talking about. I didn't realize this is what it was going to look like. And I told you this before the election. I told you that eventually, once the Gestapo start kidnapping people, that Americans were very quickly going to turn around and say, yeah, we didn't like this at all, actually. Now, we can have a conversation on whether or not that's too late. Too little, too late, sure. But ultimately, that means that Americans are not actually on board with this level of mass deportation at all. They don't like seeing the wives and husbands of American citizens get kidnapped at their green card meetings, at their green card appointments. Who the f wants that? Because that's what mass deportation looks like. Do you understand? If Americans were really horny for this level of violence towards random migrants, then Donald Trump's then Donald Trump would still be killing it on the immigration front because he's been following through on that, right? So one must ask the question, why, especially in places where ICE is doing raids? Don't say they like it. It's not true. There are plenty of people who don't like it. Plenty of people who thought they like it actually see it happen and go, oh, I don't like it. It's no different than that one Republican congressperson who was like, I love Donald Trump, but then he said the R word and my second daughter has Down syndrome and it turns out I actually don't like Trump now. Do you not understand? And Trump's disapproval proves that. The discontent proves that people don't like it. The mass mobilization proves that people don't like it. The No Kings rallies is another clear-cut example that people don't like it. They're mobilizing. They're taking it to the streets. Americans are deeply selfish people. They're taking time out of their days to go out and protest. That means they don't like it. If Donald Trump was killing it and he had no concerns about his base recognizing that he's not doing shit on affordability, he wouldn't bring Zoran Mamdani into the White House and sit by his side and act all chummy and even defend him against contentious questions in the by the press pool, right? He wouldn't have to do that. He'd just be like, that's a Muslim communist. We have to denaturalize him immediately. Because what Trump is saying only a week after that Zoran Mamdani meeting is that Zoran Mamdani should be deported. So which is it? Approval ratings mean nothing to these people. I don't even know why it's discussed on the news. It means nothing to maybe the MAGA cult, but it means something to us. It means that people are experiencing disapproval. And specifically on the issue of immigration, that's what's very consequential here. Because if Americans were broadly in support of Donald Trump's attitudes on immigration, 90% of Democrats disapprove of Trump on immigration. 66% of independents disapprove on Trump's attitudes on immigration. 81% of Republicans approve of Donald Trump's policies on immigration. But you cannot continue your agenda with just the Republicans. You can't. That's why his overall disapproval on immigration, which was his most successful policy, was mass deportation. He ran on mass deportation. Is at sitting at 57% disapproval right now.